The number one pick is still in play. Welcome to Patriots Today by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham. Chiefs beat the Pats 27-17. New England played fairly well in this one and actually had a chance to maybe have a chance to win late in this one. I thought they hung around, but ultimately not enough firepower. They lose this one by 10 points. Mahomes throws for 300, a couple of touchdowns. Did throw 2 picks. Bailey Zappi was fine, mostly checkdowns. 180 yards, touchdown, and an interception. I still think the way he's playing, he can be this team's backup, long-term backup, but certainly not someone I would view as a franchise quarterback. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about this game, including a notable injury, and then we'll talk about the chances of the Patriots getting the number one pick in the NFL draft. And it's going to be an awesome offseason, a wild offseason. This is why you should subscribe to the channel. Hit that sub button. It's 100% free. Here on Patriots Today, you are not going to want to miss out, as we're going to have you covered. Talk about this game a little bit. Again, Bailey Zappi, kind of a typical stat line for him. Not a lot of yards per attempt, but for the most part, took care of the football. And we'll bring in Rolly here, and I'll kind of echo what I said, Rolly. I think Bailey Zappi has qualities of an average backup quarterback in this league where there's value in that. I think he's showing that, but it once again it's easy when you watch him play. He just doesn't have enough skills to be a high-level starter.
Well, what the most fascinating aspect of Bailey Zappi is the drop-off from first halves to second halves. And this is now his, 5th or 6th start in New England, and he's played in a handful of games. But every game that he has started, the first half for Bailey Zappi is really, really good. In the second half, once the opposing team makes an adjustment to whatever the Patriots offense was doing in the first 30 minutes of the game, it just goes completely downhill. I mean, they were at halftime. It was 14-10. Zappi was cooking. And then next thing you know, just like the game in Pittsburgh last Thursday, that the second half rolls around and the offense completely goes lifeless. I mean, the only reason why New England was able to get on the board in the second half is because Kadarius Toney has bricks for hands, and it went right through his hands into the arms of a Patriots defender for an interception, and they had the ball in the red zone. And shout out Kevin Harris, who actually played better than Zeke today. He ran in a touchdown. So, to me, a lot of people I saw on Patriots Twitter in the first half were like, is Zappi our guy because of what happened last Thursday and how he was looking against a good Chiefs defense in the first 30 minutes. But the inconsistencies from first half to second half are just too blatant. And you mix that with his lack of athleticism and physical traits, the Patriots are going to have a top 2 pick unless they rattle off 1, maybe 2 wins here down the stretch of the season. So it's time probably to think quarterback.
He reminds me of like a number 5 starting pitcher in a rotation. Like, sure, first time through the order, he's got good enough stuff. He's at the big league level for a reason. But like once hitters adjust, once defenses adjust, it doesn't look the same. And to me, that's backup QB type of stuff. Like, backup QBs in this league are very good at what they do. They're top 50, 65 quarterbacks on the planet, but there's a reason they're backups, because when you take away plan A for whatever the game plan was for said quarterback, they usually have a tough time adapting to plan B, plan C. So that's just kind of how it goes. You mentioned Kevin Harris. He had a couple of nice runs, had a touchdown in there. Zeke kind of looked like washed version of Zeke that we've seen at times over the past couple of years. Just couldn't get anything going. But, there's not a ton to dive into with this team on the field at this point in time. Sure, there's evaluations that are always going to be happening. But for us, it's a big picture discussion. And now, with the loss, the Patriots fall to 3-11. And the Panthers won, so we'll get to that in a second. But Cole Strange did leave this game with the knee injury. Did want to mention that as well. Didn't look great either, so feel like there's a decent chance he's out for the season. We'll probably have more on that tomorrow if there is an updated MRI or something. So be on the lookout. Cole Strange did leave this game. But, Nick, we do have updated tank standings, and the Carolina Panthers beat the Falcons 9-7. And the strength of schedule tiebreaker, which, again, whichever team ends up with a worse strength of schedule, the Carolina Panthers strength of schedule is .01 easier than the Patriots. So technically they would still have the tiebreaker, but depending on what happens with the opponents on their schedules, let's say the Patriots lose out and Carolina just wins one more game. There is a scenario where at 3-14, the Patriots could get the number 1 pick.
Yeah, it's not going to help that as we're currently filming this, the Bills are up 21-3 against the Cowboys, and that's only going to make their strength of schedule get more difficult, which means it actually hurts you in the standings, at least in that range. But we said this a week or two ago when the Panthers were 1 win still, and New England were still 2-10 and 2-11, or 2-10. Before they won against Pittsburgh, I believed that Carolina was 100% winning another game this season. Now, I did only think it was going to be one, but when they had their schedule down the stretch, they had a lot of games at home against divisional opponents. In their final 4 games, well, now they're down to 3, but they had 3 home games. They were able to beat Atlanta, a division rival, in their home stadium today. And like you mentioned, it would have been a lot more interesting with the strength of schedules if the Patriots haven't beat the Steelers on the road. But now it feels like, is there a chance the Panthers can grab one more? Their final 3 games are at home against Green Bay next week. Then they go to Jacksonville, and then they close out the year at home against Tampa Bay. And who knows, maybe if the Bucs have that division locked up, they could be resting some people.
That feels like the best chance. Like the Bucs have the South wrapped up. They're locked into the 4 seed in the NFC. Week 18, they could win a game. Maybe Green Bay next week, who's lost 2 in a row all of a sudden, but that would surprise me.
I mean, the Carolina win was still horrific. They won 9-7 with 3 field goals.
Dude, they're horrible.
Yeah.
It's actually like their 2 wins are like minor miracles. I don't know how they beat C.J. Stroud and the Texans a month and a half ago, but I still think Carolina's pick is going to be number 1, which would go to Chicago. But after today, the door's at least open. Like if you lose out, I will say this. That win versus Pittsburgh could be an all-time bad win.
That could haunt us, man. I'm telling you.
And look, players aren't going to tank, coaches aren't going to tank. No one's like ripping them, but it's just one of those things where it's like that's why Rolly and I were saying they need to lose because you never know what can happen with other games.
I know people will never
NFL.
root for a team to lose, and even when I was watching the game today against the Chiefs.
Oh, I'll root for teams to lose, but not to intentionally lose on purpose.
Like I'm not. I just can't watch them play and root for them to lose while I see them on. But like after the game ends, I'm like, that was a good loss. Like, that was like today. Like I was getting frustrated with the officials against the Chiefs and some of the decisions made by the offense. And I was getting excited when we were turning Mahomes over. I mean, he had 2 picks. Marte Mapu also shout to him. Really good play over the middle of the field, the 3rd rounder in this past draft class. But like when the game ended and the dust settled, it was like, all right, this is good for the greater good. And if it turns out that we could have the number 1 pick and the reason we didn't is because we beat Pittsburgh on the road on Thursday Night Football, it's gonna stay. It's gonna stay.
No doubt about it. What pick will the Patriots end up with? 2, 3? It's gonna be 2 or 3 because, I say that Washington keeps losing. I don't think they're winning again. By the way, off the bye week, they're getting smoked by the Rams. I think they'll lose out. I don't think they'll win another game. Who are the Patriots? We got
Denver next Saturday, Buffalo the week after,
not
and
beating
then
Buffalo.
New York at home to close it out. So 2 road games.
They were bad today, man.
Yeah, but like apparently Rodgers is going to play this week, or he's going to try to.
Even
so we'll see.
After the loss,
I think
is psychotic.
I think he wants to come back to prove people wrong more than anything else.
All right. He's a very individualistic guy, so it wouldn't surprise me. Prize Picks is our sponsor here on Patriots Today, and be honest, I've lost some money today, but we're going to bounce back. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS to get started today. I did have this entry out there, more than on the Lamar Jackson passing yards. They're tonight, correct? And then Josh Allen, he's having a big game. I'm not sure where he currently sits on the passing yards, but got this entry in after I took an L in the new window. Hopefully this one connects. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. This is 10 to win 30. There's some holiday specials right now, too, where PrizePicks is putting out some, like, juiced stats where you can either, like, kind of take it even more bang for your buck type of approach where it's higher yardage, but if you do hit, you can win up to 100 times your money, whereas standard picks, you can win up to 25 times your money. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use our code CLNS to get started today. All right, let's talk about Bill Belichick, the latest rumors on his status. And apparently, according to Ian Rappaport, this final month, was largely going to determine the future of his in New England. Obviously lost today, so not a great start if that's true. I'll be honest, Rolly, it's kind of confusing to me.
No, it is.
Even if you win the Final Four, I don't want to say who cares, what does it mean completely, but I kind of do. This team is they're just not where they need to be right now.
Well, the thing that's just been so weird is because obviously Curran came up with that report middle of last week, right? And he kind of went back on it a little bit once it got national attention. And then there's Diana Russini, who kind of backed that same thing to where it's like everything she's hearing is that it's leaning towards that way. And then you have Rappaport come out, I think it was either yesterday evening or this morning. I don't really recall when he actually tweeted this. I think I lean more he came out to this today. That nothing has been decided definitively, and how the season ends could be a large part of how Robert Kraft views this and goes into the offseason. As for saying, if they beat the Chiefs today and then somehow beat the Broncos, maybe lose to the Bills but then beats the Jets, so you finished winning 4 out of your last 5 games, and you're a 7-win team, or excuse me, it would be a 6-win team.
Which, by the way, would not be good for the future of this franchise if that happened.
That he could stay around. And it's just intriguing because obviously Staley got fired on Thursday or Friday with the Chargers. Could that be a fit
lot of
for
connection
Belichick?
there.
I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of bad vibes around Belichick and the organization right now. I know some of the players like playing for him, but there was also a bunch of players that came out in support of Malik Cunningham when he got claimed by the Ravens. 4 or 5 players posted on social media, go show out in Baltimore, show the talent that you have, that you alluding to the lines of he should have gotten more playing time
a chance here. Yeah.
And then Belichick obviously did not sign him to the active roster.
Well, then you got this too, the whole J.C. Jackson situation. He was active but didn't play. Belichick says, quote, he wasn't available. Let's leave it at that. So it just feels like I'm not saying the Belichick way can't work in today's NFL, but it feels like his way in New England has kind of run its course. Does it not?
There's a lot up in the air here, Harrison, and we brought up the J.C. Jackson. There is one guarantee that will be happening this offseason. And it is J.C. Jackson will be cut by the New England Patriots. He was traded for because they knew they could get him for super cheap, and they had the cap space to do it to help out the season after the Marcus Jones and Christian Gonzalez injury. They just had to give a late-round pick. It would have been fine. And obviously that experiment has not worked back again in New England. And there's just no way to me that he is going to be on this roster come 2024. And to be honest, I don't think he needs to be, because when you look at the cornerback room for next year, you have Marcus Jones, Christian Gonzalez, and Jonathan Jones. You just sign some depth guys and maybe draft a couple of guys in free agency, in the draft, and that will be the cornerback room next year. So
yeah, I'm with you.
But it's just weird with Belichick, man. A lot of confusion.
Look, I feel like the Rappaport report is almost like a Kraft deal of, there's way too many reports that we're going to move on from our legendary coach. Let's leak this out we haven't decided anything. I'd be shocked if it wasn't over for Belichick in New England. Quite frankly, I think deep down whether he's been told or not, I think he knows it's over. I think he's probably auditioning to be a coach elsewhere more than anything else. And hey, even though they lost today, they have played better the last couple of weeks. So good for him in that regard. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. Happy Sunday. That much closer to a top pick. We'll see what happens over these next few weeks. We'll be back tomorrow with more Patriots news and rumors. So join us then. Peace out.